Hey guys, in a park, like in a park, like sitting down with your bikes, with your bike and with your gear, in a park. It's really nice, like sometimes you just can't have that quiet environment to focus, because sometimes, like when you're somewhere, people come around and they try to divert your attention. It's attention seeking. So today I got very important point, like I was always struggling to understand these communist ideas about in Eritrea and Ethiopia, so you had the dog using the dog, the Communist Party, okay? So their symbols were a hammer and a sickle, okay? So these communists, so they had this, or we used to call them or sarawit, okay? Or means saw. It's a German ancient kind of, like pagan belief, okay? From this Germans, all these Scandinavian people, okay? He's a god of thunder, terror, and and god of anger, wrath, my friend, god of war. So that's his symbol is a hammer. So this Ethiopian Communist Party dog, the Shango, and they had that hammer and a sickle, kind of like his representation, God. So the soldiers, they used to call them or sarawit, okay? Or so is a German pagan god of war, god of terror, fear, my friend, fear, terror, like a trepidation. So what they had was they had this military MiG aeroplanes, Antonov and all these Russian weaponry gadgets and all these things, so they used to make all these somersaulting kind of like flight on the skies of Eritrea. Ooh, people used to get like terrorized, and especially they had that song Amharic, and I'll make you listen to it, like just a glimpse. You see, my friend, listen to this music. Aragadai, 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 Aragadai. So this guy is called Worko Andwalem. So I brought it for a reason, okay? So this song was played when there was war, terror. Every time this song was played when we were kids, like we knew there was war in the horizon, like hovering in Eritrea and Ethiopia, like So this tune was played in Radio Asmara and Radio Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, okay? So it's a song of war. Because I'll try to link it with my idea. So this Thor, god of Thor, of this Germanic pagan belief from the Scandinavian countries in Germany, like the northern pole of these Europeans, Scandinavian countries, Germany. They got that dark skies, like, you know, and when it gets dark, it terrorizes them often. Especially if there is a thunder, they get scared. It scares the hell out of them, like, you know. So that's their belief, like, you know. These people, they try to be very kind of, like, you know, looking for attention. Yes, my friend. So the sky's horizon in the northern hemisphere is really scary, okay? So you got this sad, season-affected depression. I don't know what the abbreviation is. So when the Europeans, the Scandinavian countries, all these Nordic countries, Sweden, Finland, Norway, always, the skies are dark, very scary, like, you know. So if it's raining, there's this thunder, boom! It scares the hell out of them, like, you know. So I think it must have been taken from that idea, like, you know, when you try to read his history in the Scandinavian countries, especially from this guy called Tacitus. I think in the first AC or BC, he's a Roman historian. I think it's a general son, or maybe, I don't know, he is Roman himself, general. I'm not 100% sure. I read him, like, you know. So that's how he puts about all these Germanic people, you know, all these Scandinavian people, like, you know. So this was their god, god of war, my friend, god of fear, terror, thunder, like, you know, all these Scandinavian countries, like, you know, when they go that they are in the skies, my friend, in the when it's a cold weather, like, you know. So it scares the hell out of them, the dark skies, my friend, okay. And so that's their god. So okay, or ሰራዊት. Oh, okay. So his symbol, a hammer, a sickle. So you got that dog, Ethiopian communist dog, or ሰራዊት, my friend, okay. Or ሰራዊት means soldiers of Thor, they are God, you know. So that's a belief, my friend. I'm not 100% sure whether Mangusta Haile Mariam understood what's all about, but this was a terror that we've been subjected all these years, my friend, in Eritrea and Ethiopia, like, you know. Hundreds of thousands of people being maimed by sharpeners, like, you know, by weapons, by aeroplanes, MiG, helicopters, my friend. They were scaring the hell out of us, like, you know. God of fear, God of terror, my friend, okay. Or ሰራዊት, like, you know. Every time people used to hear this song, the one I made you listen to the tune. So this belief, okay. Even this EPLF, they had a kind of the same belief. So they had in Ethiopia, they had this Isapa means Ethiopian ሰራተኞች party, okay. I mean, it's Ethiopian workers party, very dreaded party, okay. So they had this deninnet, meaning the security of the country, okay. In Eritrea, we got ሀገራዊ ደህንነት, the same thing, okay. ጦር ሰራዊት ሁሉም ወደ ጦር ግንባር, everyone goes to the front, okay. And in Eritrea, we go ህዝባዊ ግንባር. So they got the same kind of mentality, like, you know. So that's the belief of terror, like, you know. Once you terrorize someone, they get scared. It's easy to manage them, like, you know, to direct them every direction you want them. So that's the belief, ruling people by terror, by fear. So this god is god of war, my friend, you know. So if you're gonna mess up, he's got a hammer, sickle, kind of like, you know, like a threshing seeds, all this barley and sorghum, all everything, like, you know. So that's the belief, pagan belief of Thor, Germanic pagan belief, okay. The EPLF still now, they have that communist mentality, Russian mentality. So this is how they organized the whole society in Eritrea, like, you know. We've been trapped into that mentality, like, you know. Even now, it's very hard for us to get out of that shackle of virtual prison that they put us, they subjected us, like, you know. So they inherited all this dark Ethiopian Communist Party from Russia, and they implemented as it is, literally, okay? So this god of war, Thor, is well by this by these Kenisha people, like, you know, all these Protestant Eritreans, like, you know, who are studied in the Scandinavian countries, especially in Sweden. They are aware of it, and they know the effect of fear, the effect of terror on someone, like, you know. We, especially the Tuisto people, Eritreans, we just believe and trust things at face value, as we say it, like, you know. We are very innocent, like, you know, very gullible, like, you know. We have that ancient kind of, like, you know, belief system in Eritrea. But these Eritreans, all these Kenisha people in the Gaza, Kenisha, Asmara, all of them, like, you know, all these Oromo people in Ethiopia, they are well versed with the Swedish cultural tradition, you know, their belief system, all this paganism they had from the past. They know the society, they know the countries, you know, how the Persian, Swedish countries, all these Nordic countries, their skies, all this horizon hovering, dark skies in winter and everything, like, you know. So that belief system, they know exactly how the mechanism works, how the process works, and they literally implement it in their political management system to us, to all these, to other people, like, you know. We're talking about 60% believers of all Eritreans, like, you know. All these Kenisha Protestant people, maybe they all of them added together, one person, and you go these Catholics, maybe 5%. So this is the Germanic, Nordic, Scandinavian countries' belief system. Then they brought it literally into war, into political system, like, you know, or Sarawit, my friend. So when they see Eritrean, when they see you dancing Amharic, all that kind of stuff, my friend, they don't see the good side of it. They always associated with or Sarawit, my friend, donkey. So those people who are horrified in Eritrea, they see all the soldiers as donkeys, like, you know. They just, like, you know, grab every girl and, you know, rape them. That's how they see them, like, you know. Sometimes when I dance and play with this Amharic music, I do have really lovely memory with my Amharic music and all the people, like, you know. Probably it's just very peaceful environment that I grown up. So coming up to this store belief, this madman, Mangus Haile Mariam, he used to fish all the Ethiopian non-educated illiterate people from all this Ilibabur, Kaffa, Jumma, you know, all this Nekamte, southern Ethiopia, Wulega, everywhere, my friend, like, you know, in hundreds of thousands, like, you know. They used to call them Kombe. Kombe means like convoy cars, okay? Thousands, tens of thousands of cars, like, you know, they used to call them in Eritrea with their trailer, like, you know, big trucks. They were loaded on the trucks. Tens, hundreds of thousands of soldiers, my friend, okay? Very young, like, you know, you see them, like, you know, very bubbly, always, like, they used to cover and wrap their heads with this, what we call fota and kushuf, like, you know, as kind of like a clothes, okay? Hundreds of thousands of soldiers coming, passing very adre, like, you know. I was a kid that time, we used to count them, all the cars passing by. So they had this Eritrea, and they had this, what do you call the, armchair kind of, like, with their trailer. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers being loaded on the cars, like, you know. So they used to sing, I think they were very young, like maybe 17, 18, maximum all until 25, 30. They used to they were on the top of the trucks with their trailers, like, you know. So they were banging with their shoes on the trucks, my friend. They were using them like a drum, okay. So we were counting all these convoys, okay, all these cars, like, you know. So they used to call them Gidaj. Gidaj means, like, you know, all these national cars, trucks, and private. The government were bringing them to northern Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Tigray, like, you know. So they used to call them Gidaj, means by force, okay. So all these truck drivers, they would say 6 months traveling, bringing all the soldiers, you know. We used to count from Hadamo and go to Hajj Abdi from the uphill, like, you know. All these people were like, you know, dancing and shouting and singing, my friend, like, you know. So they used to bang the trucks with their legs as a dance, and they were clapping, all that kind of. That's really horrible, my friend. We as a kids, we know what's facing them, like, you know, and you hear on the radio and everything. So that song really scary, my friend. It's terror, my friend, like, you know. So it took us so many years to heal ourselves, like, you know, into normality, like, you know. I never been into war and everything, but this is the kind of thing that we pass through, like, you know. All these Ethiopians, Eritreans now, when they think about war, my friend, you have to think twice, my friend. These are people we've been victimized and, you know, traumatized for so many years because of this so Russian God pagan belief, like, you know. So they gave them, was like, you know, skunk kid, like, you know, they gave him all the belief or and so that was the worship of cult, my friend. God of war, God of terror, God of bloodshed, God of, you know, killing, my friend. So this, I think, because I wanted to make it into context, all this Germanic kind of pagan belief, all they have from that thing, like, you know. So this EPLF now, when they see me dancing all this Amharic song and everything, that's art, my friend, okay? If you are an Eritrean, if you want a lot of customers, Ethiopians and all that kind of people, 100,000 customers, my friend, big market, okay? So Tasfai was a, I'm saying Tasfai is an Eritrean historian, I think, because I think he grown a little bit in Ethiopia somehow. Obviously, he's a historian. I think he's aware the cultural kind of, like, you know, connection we have with Tigray and Ethiopia. So one of the guy, I think he's called Suleiman, he's one of the clerk in the embassy. He was saying, like, you know, adgi kind of like, you know, donkey, my friend. So because that's where it's coming from. It's so this belief is they're trying to create fear, terror, like, you know, all this character assassination or adgi kind of. So all these APLF, all still they go older, maybe 78 years old, but still the thinking of trying to hug people into fear, trepidation, and, you know, terror as worshipping the thunder god of all the Scandinavian from this church of Sweden and Germanic pagan god. I think it has to stop, my friend. I think because I thought I just wanted to link it all together. So you got all this Hagaraw Dehnet from Dehnet Ethiopia. You go like, you know, everything. ኤርትራውያን ሸቃሎ ማህበር የኢትዮጵያ ሰራተኞች ፓርቲ everything literally translated as it is, my friend, okay? Still from ጦር ሰራዊት so god of pagan, god of German, Scandinavian, like, you know. So I just want to say that I think you guys, I'm gonna put a link how the god saw of all the Scandinavian countries, the German pagan god, and how it was used for war, my friend. All these conquered leaders that we got in Ethiopia and Eritrea, they were worshipping that, using for war, my friend. So they were saying, like, we sexy or shooting, or like, you know, they always playing out with this East Cleanwood American kind of, like, this Wild West, you know, all this Texas, all kind of like cowboys, like, you know. So that's the blame, my friend, okay? Thank you guys. You have a lovely weekend.